What is going on, everyone? It's Ultimate Spy 53 here, and welcome to another episode of Reviewed number 159. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the Pink Panther 2, the sequel to the 2006 Pink Panther reboot. So what did I think of the Pink Panther 2? Well, I actually enjoyed it a lot. It was really funny. Probably even funnier than the first one, although that was also really funny. So both movies combined, just really funny. Comedy. It's what these movies are about. They're comedy movies. And this movie got terrible reviews, even worse reviews than the first one. I mentioned last week how this one got even worse reviews. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I guess I have a different opinion than the critics here, but it's ridiculous. There's nothing wrong with the movie. It's just funny. It's just really crazy funny, and I just love it. It's enjoyable because it's just so funny. That's why I like these movies, because with the comedy there, it's just it's fun to watch a movie like this because it's so funny. There were things that I think they could have done a better job at. Casting was really good. I love the casting a lot. It had a fantastic cast. Although the only person who didn't return was Kevin Kline, who played the chief inspector. He didn't return. I don't know why. And they replaced him with John Cleese, which is fine because John Cleese is one of my favorite British actors. He's awesome. I just love his work. And so they also had Alfred Millie in it, and I loved him as Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2. He was great. He was fantastic. He did a great job, and he did this movie, and he actually uses his own accent, which is great because he's actually a British actor, and he just played that character with an American accent. But in this movie, it's a different story because he's a detective, and the big thing about this movie was it's a dream team. I like the fact that they had a dream team. It was really cool. The first film dealt with murder, and then also dealt with the fact that the Pink Panther was stolen. And in this movie, a bunch of artifacts from all over the world are stolen, and it takes a whole team of experts and detectives to track down the tornado, which is the villain, the mastermind behind the stolen artifacts, including obviously the Pink Panther. It proves that Clouseau needs help. He can't do these investigations on his own. Because I had an Italian man, an English man, a Japanese man, and an Indian woman who turned out to be the twist behind it was the fact that she was actually a tornado the whole time. And it's one of those twists, those plot twists. It's you didn't actually realize that the villain is actually working with the team to solve this case. When it turns out the person behind these deaths was heard all along. It was just what a twist, And with Alfred Molina, who's great in this movie, he's just fantastic. And because mainly because he's so well known as Doc Ock, like I mentioned before. But this joke in the movie that kind of, I guess, falls through, becomes a reality. He jokes that if Clouseau solves the case, that he would run around wearing a tutu, and I think he also added later a pink fluffy handbag. And it actually happens. It actually becomes true because at the end of the movie, he's in that tutu, and it's this puffy dress, and it's just the weirdest thing ever. And it's why would he do that? I guess because he wants to make a fool of himself, because he doesn't think that Clouseau can do it, because Clouseau's an idiot, because he is an idiot in this movie. He is a downright idiot. It was just you never thought he was actually serious. I mean, he wasn't serious, but he didn't know if he was gonna end up like that. I mean, that's the last thing he was gonna do, but it was what? So I liked it a lot. That was really funny. And I really liked the fact that Clouseau, he's like Sherlock in this movie. He's able to be a good deducer. I mean, much like Alfred Molina's character. They're both there's a scene where he's at the crime scene, and he does a little deduction with Alfred Molina's character, and Alfred Molina does the same thing, where he's finding things, kind of like Sherlock in a way, kind of doing the deduction, the extra deduction, which is kind of like what Sherlock does. He pinpoints details about things that are very interesting, and that's one thing I liked about this movie that did not happen in the first one at all. It was really, really good. But one thing about this movie that was kind of confusing, I didn't really understand it. That same scene, a little bit before then, you have Nicole, saying hello, Inspector, and then he pretends that he doesn't know her, I don't believe what my kind of thing, and it's what was that about? I don't really understand why they did that. What was the point? I don't see it. Why would you do that? Why would you have that kind of interaction where, Clouseau pretends he doesn't know Nicole. I don't understand it. It was weird, but that's the only thing I really had an issue with. It was just that one scene was like, okay, that's just awkward and weird, and I don't really understand what it is, but yeah, whatever. I think my favorite part of this movie, I mean, it's gotta be, because I mean, there's so much funny moments in the movie, but my favorite part probably have to be the social manners woman tries to teach Clouseau manners, and it's just the funniest thing ever, because he keeps failing on being social, like what the right thing to say is, and it was just the best part of the movie. This weird thing of like, you never do this, you never do that. It was like, it's like the funniest thing that he ends up getting called in for into her office is calling Japanese people my little yellow friend. I mean, it's horrible thing to say, but even then, it's like the way that it's presented with Clouseau is just funny because it's like, yeah, Clouseau would definitely say that because it's like the worst thing to say ever. Apparently, it's a terrible thing to say, but like, it was like the best part of the movie because he kept getting called. It's just like she's trying to teach him manners, but he does not understand. It was just funny. It was just so funny. And obviously, Clouseau is an idiot in this movie. He is a downright idiot because there's a flashback scene. It's like right when Clouseau is about to head out to Rome with the dream team, and they flash back to when he basically burnt down, I think it was a Spanish restaurant, and it just proves that he's an idiot because he burns it down. It's like, wow. Like he does all these juggling with these wines, giving all the waiters the wines because he accidentally like made the shelf of wine, drop down, so it kept spilling, and so he ends up burning the whole restaurant down because there's these pies that have fire in them for some reason, and then he comes back to do the investigation with Plantot, like these like stakeout, and then he goes back in doing the stupid thing ever, but like, remember me, remember, because in the flashback scenes, like, remember this face, you must remember this face, and then he goes back to the restaurant when they're doing the stakeout, and it's like, remember me? It's like, why would you do that? That's an idiot. I mean, that's kind of the point. Clouseau's supposed to be an idiot, but like, seriously, like, what? And then he goes in later because he gets kicked out as a dancer, one of the weirdest scenes ever, and he ends up burning it down again because of the flaming pies. It's like he does a little dancing and then poof, flaming pies, and then and the restaurant burns down again. He's just an idiot. He's such an idiot, but it's so funny. And like the first film, Clouseau becomes an embarrassment to France and becomes depressed. There's a couple of things that he does that embarrasses him, and he ends up being basically what the first film did. Where we was at the airport, and then he lets down France, and in this movie it's like, he's doing this stupid stuff, and then he becomes an embarrassment. So yeah, it does become kind of sad in the end. Like, it kind of shows like he really doesn't know what to do in his life. It's really sad, but like that's just the part of how idiotic Clouseau is, because he doesn't know what is right apparently. And one of the tough parts about this movie is the fact that Clouseau says something to the Italian guy, and it redirects to Nicole, who thinks that Clouseau thinks that she is disgusting and it's horrible, and it becomes, I think where she becomes mad at him and she doesn't care about him, and it becomes really sad, and it's like the truth, it's like it shows that Clouseau can be an idiot because he can say things that are just stupid, and that's the comedy about it. But also it kind of shows you like how much he screws up in this movie, like what he says, and just in general as a person he just screws up, and it ends up making Nicole mad at him and wanting to talk to him, and like wanting to go with the Italian guy, and it's just like it's horrible stuff. But at the end, it's like it just shows that in the end, Clouseau does end up solving the case, which is fantastic. It shows flashbacks which are really interesting, showing him that even though he's stubborn, clumsy, and an idiotic person, he still was able to solve the case with flashbacks, which were really, really cool. I liked them a lot. They were really cool. They happened in the first film, and they were really, really interesting part about the movie. And so what happens is that Clouseau thinks that the Italian guy, which I can't remember, he's a very complicated name. He thinks that, Nicole doesn't care about him because of what he said, and then ultimately decides that she has fallen in with the Italian guy, which is not true at all. And it's sad, but also at the same time, Clouseau does win over in the end. Clouseau does finally solve the case, and it proves that he actually is a genius on the inside, even though he acts like a complete idiot. But that's kind of the idea. That's That's his character. So it kind of felt like he wasn't even trying when he realized that Nicole was not really caring about him, and it kind of felt like he wanted to just give up on her. Yeah, I guess it would make him jealous or something like that, but like at the same time, it's like he didn't even try to like romance her. It just nothing, and like he just felt like he wanted to give up on love, which is very sad. But that's who he is. He just kind of there's a point where he just doesn't even want to try anymore. Just sad, but in the end, he does end up marrying Nicole, which is so sweet. There is actually a wedding scene. He solves the case, which everyone's surprised, which is fantastic because of the flashbacks. So just in general, he secretly is a genius, and he ends up marrying Nicole because the Italian guy reveals the truth. Like, oh yeah, I never was interested in her. Clouseau was the only man she ever loved. And then at the end of the film, they get married. And what's crazy about the end of the film was the fact that the security thing happened. The chief inspector, played by John Cleese in this movie, not by Kevin Kline, because I guess Kevin Kline wasn't available or something like that. That's why they had to replace him with John Cleese. That's fine. John Cleese is amazing, as I said before. And so he opens a bottle of champagne, and then it triggers a security system. And then it's like a big raid thing where it's like everything's going in chaos, and then Clouseau and Nicole have to leave for a plane guys for their honeymoon. But the best part of the film, the very end of the film, was something I was not expecting at all. The actual animated Pink Panther. I mean, yeah, the animated Pink Panther is part of the opening credits. It's kind of like how they always do it in the old films. Part of this film too, but the fact that they actually had it. I mean, yeah, the Pink Panther was in the posters, but the actual animated Panther, Pink Panther, makes a cameo, and it's the weirdest thing ever. It's like you didn't even expect it was gonna happen. The fact that the animated characters in a live action movie. I mean, it has happened before, but not this surprising. I was not expecting it at all. It was the weirdest thing. It was the craziest thing. I was like, what? I thought it was amazing. I thought it was so cool that they added it in there. Just a last minute surprise. And it is the coolest thing ever because you can't have a Pink Panther movie without Pink Panther. I mean, unless you cut the credits, opening credits, that makes sense. But as an actual cameo, an actual physical animated character, I'd never seen that before. I think this is the first time they actually included that in there, which is super cool. So that's all I'm going to say about the Pink Panther 2. It is a good movie. The little people who hate it, people think it's terrible. I've seen some of the reviews saying it's just god-awful. I can disagree. I had no issues with it, really. That one scene I mentioned before where I didn't really understand why Clouseau was doing it, but that's really all I can say about it. I really don't know why I got 12%. It's not even that bad. It's funny. It's really funny. It's fun to watch because of the comedy, and because Clouseau is such an idiot, and that's what makes it so funny, because Clouseau is basically like Johnny English. He's so damn funny because he does all these stupid stuff, and it makes this movie just enjoyable to watch. I really enjoyed the movie. It's fantastic, and I really had no issues with it, so that's all I'm going to say about Pink Panther 2. Good movie. It didn't get a sequel, obviously, because it got terrible reviews, and I think it didn't even make its budget. And then everyone came back except Kevin Kline, which is fine. They don't have to have everyone. I mean, the fact that they have almost everyone is fantastic. In order to make a good sequel, you have to have almost everyone. Sometimes they don't have everyone, like Harry Potter, but as long as they have the main lead, that's fine. So that's really all I'm going to say about the Pink Panther 2. Great movie. It deserves way more than it gets, and I'm going to leave it with a 9.5 out of 10. I don't usually do point, but this movie, it only had one flaw. I guess I'd say I got it a half point. So yeah, 9.5 out of 10. I really had no issues with it. It's just funny. It's just so damn fun. I love the fact that they have Gene Reno. He's one of my favorite French actors. Now he is. He's just awesome. I love the fact that they brought back everyone. Emma Mortimer, John Cleese, Alfred Molina. Just a lot of familiar actors, and I liked it. That's why I liked it. It had a great cast. It was just fantastic. So anyway, I'm going to leave it here, and that's all I'm going to say. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Reviewed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I really do appreciate it. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe for more episodes of this series and of the series that I do, as well as other great content. Also, make sure you click that bell to enable alerts so you don't miss some uploads, and I'll be back next week with another episode. Alright? See ya.